Hello, Thomas Crockett here. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to tell another story from the Hitchhiking Follies section of my book. This one is called Chips and Soda at Pedro's House. A young man named Nestor drove me to Butte, Montana. The sky had just turned dark. He lived with his Native American grandparents. He said he couldn't take me there. His grandfather might wake up in the middle of the night, see my long hair, and want to possess it, if I knew what he meant. I said I did. He said he had a friend named Pedro. We could visit and stay with him. How did that sound? Great, I said. He didn't have Pedro's address. He, in fact, had never been to Pedro's house, but he remembered Pedro once telling him at a party that if he was in the neighborhood, he should drop in. He would know his house by the music playing, since Pedro played it all night. That according to what Pedro had told him. Nestor drove around until we came to a house that had music blaring from it. That's it, he said. I'm sure of it. He parked his car. I walked alongside him as he approached the front door. He knocked. When no one answered, he turned the knob and walked inside. He told me people in Montana didn't lock their doors. People were friendly and trustworthy. Country music played from a radio. Nestor called Pedro's name. Pedro didn't answer. Neither did anyone else. A large bowl of potato chips sat on the kitchen table. Next to the bowl was a 4-pack of big red soda bottles. Nestor said Pedro had probably taken a quick ride to the store. He would be back soon. Nestor sat down and began eating chips. He opened a bottle of Big Red. He told me to take a load off my feet, so I sat with him and ate some chips. Have a soda as well, Nestor said. Pedro wouldn't mind. He's the nicest guy in the world. I opened a bottle of the Big Red soda and began drinking. I listened to the lyrics of the song playing. I knew I was a long way from my New York home. Come on and join our convoy. Ain't nothing gonna get in our way. We're gonna roll this trucking convoy across the USA. Convoy. Nestor was surprised that country music played on the radio. He remembered Pedro telling him that he liked rock and roll best. He explained that Pedro was probably in such a rush to get out of the door that he didn't bother to fix the station before he left. Nestor and I ate eagerly from the potato chip bowl. We hadn't eaten, as was evident by how fast we finished the chips. Nestor grabbed the large open bag of Lay's potato chips on the counter. He filled the bowl again. We heard the front door open. Hi, Pedro, Nestor called. It's me, Nestor. 2 large men entered. They appeared to be twins. They were barrel-chested, bearded men wearing matching flannel shirts, except for the colors. One wore blue, the other red. They looked like they had just come from one of those trucking convoys. Who the fuck are you? The man with the red flannel shirt said to us. I had a feeling this man wasn't Pedro. I looked at Nestor, hoping he had a good answer. Doesn't Pedro live here? Nestor said, potato chips crumbling from his lips. The man with the blue flannel shirt stared at our hands inside their potato chip bowl. Who the fuck is Pedro? He said, meeting our eyes with the fury of his. And why the fuck are you eating our potato chips? Nestor let go of the potato chips that were in his hand. They fell back in the bowl. The man with the blue flannel shirt watched Nestor rub his hands together, shaking the remaining potato chips from his palms and fingers. I finished the remaining chips that were in my hand. I thought it would be uncouth to put them back in the bowl. I thought the potato chips belonged to Pedro, Nestor said. Stop saying the name Pedro, the man with the red flannel shirt said. There is no fucking Pedro living here. Where the fuck are you from? The man with the blue flannel shirt said to me. No one who looks like you lives on the planet I inhabit. I told him I was hitchhiking back home to New York. New York? He spit out the words. The only thing I like about New York is the New York prime rib steak I eat. I hear it's pretty good, I said. But you're not a New York steak, he said. You're a hippie, and I hate hippies, especially those that are Yankees. I don't like the Yankees either, I said. I'm a Mets fan. He grunted. He stood closer to me and said, You have less than 30 minutes to get out of Butte, or else. Do you understand? I heard the lyrics from the radio. He was only 10 years old when his daddy died in prison. I looked after Tommy 'cause he was my brother's son. I still recall the final words my brother said to Tommy, Son, my life is over, but yours has just begun. I looked at Nestor, hoping as a fellow Montana resident he knew how to talk to with those with whom he had grown up. We're very sorry, Nestor said. I will gladly pay for the chips and soda. This ain't no fucking restaurant, the man with the red flannel shirt said. The chips and soda ain't for sale. I mean the ones we already ate and drank, Nestor said. Fuck you, and fuck the ones you already ate and drank, said the man with the blue flannel shirt. Nestor took out a few dollars from his pocket. He laid the bills on the table. The flannel-shirted men looked at each other. I looked at Nestor. He stood up. I did as well. We're very sorry, Nestor said. Is it okay that we go now? Are you one of those natives? The man with the red flannel shirt said to Nestor. My grandparents are, Nestor said. It's our land now, the man with the blue flannel shirt said. I know, Nestor said. And you're not welcome, the man with the red flannel shirt said. I know, Nestor said. We stood at the entryway of the kitchen, where the men stood blocking it. If it's okay with you, we'll be leaving now, I said. The man stared us down. Excuse me, I said. The flannel-shirted men moved aside just enough for me and Nestor to squeeze through them. I looked back and apologized one last time for eating their chips and drinking their soda. Fuck the chips and fuck the soda, the man with the blue flannel shirt said. And fuck Pedro, whoever the fuck he is. Nestor promised to convey the message to Pedro. When we stepped outside, I said, I thought you said people here were friendly and trustworthy. He apologized for taking me to the wrong house. If I was still interested, he would try to find Pedro's real house. He knew it was somewhere in the vicinity. This time he would listen for rock and roll music playing on the radio. I could stay there. He was sure I could. I told him as much as I wanted to meet his friend Pedro, it seemed like looking for his house was like playing Russian roulette with a loaded gun. Besides, I had had my fill of chips and soda. I just wanted to get out of town with my life. If he didn't mind taking me to the highway.